Well, here we are, one day before the release of a big new Zelda title, and I'm still occasionally pinching myself to see if I'm not dreaming. I feel like I've gone through at least 4 different life phases while waiting for this game. In the time between announcement and release, I was engaged, I moved house, became the proud owner of 4 chickens and a dog, and most notably, I became a YouTuber. In fact, tomorrow's launch roughly coincides with the 3-year anniversary of Monster Maze. Not to the exact day, but it's pretty close. Some of you may have noticed that I've gone a bit quiet since my last video about the 8th heroine, and there's a couple of reasons for that. First is, of course, the fact that the game itself has leaked about 2 weeks ago, and I would hate to get the experience ruined for me so close to the finish line. I mean, there's spoilers, and then there's like, here's the whole game, you know what I mean? As such, I've been avoiding places like Twitter and other social media, including the comment section on my own videos, which has been quite painful because I love engaging with my audience. But unfortunately, it's come to this. As much as I consider this my job now, I'm still set on experiencing the game at my own leisure, and I finally reached the point where I feel like I've seen enough. I'm even skipping Nintendo's Treehouse livestream for that same reason. Aside from that, I also figured that this might be the last chance I get in at least a good few months to take it easy. Because despite the title of this video, this is of course not the end of the journey. Well, it's the end of the journey when it comes to waiting for Tears of the Kingdom, but in terms of creating content, a whole new one is about to begin. This was just phase 1, folks. A very lengthy phase 1, mind you, but you know. I'll talk about what you can expect from me as far as a schedule goes near the end of all this rambling, but for now, I just wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you for getting the channel where it is now. When I started making my own Zelda videos 3 years ago, I never expected in a million years that this would take off the way it did. For the majority of the channel's existence, I was still doing corporate animations on the side to make ends meet, and I kinda expected it to stay that way. A 50-50 split between Dawn Motion, which is actually the name of my company, and making videos about my favorite video game series as Monster Maze. But since more or less last year, I've been able to drop the corporate stuff entirely and solely focus on YouTube, which has been an absolute blessing. Obviously, making Zelda videos is way more fun than making advertisements for a law firm or a soft drink, since when it comes to my channel, it's all on me. I get to decide my own deadlines, how my videos will look and sound, and what subjects to dive into, which is exactly the type of freedom I've been looking for, and I will never take this for granted. Despite dropping the corporate stuff and focusing on Monster Maze, I've actually been working more hours than I ever did before. Whether it's coming up with a theory, doing research, writing a script and recording a voiceover, animating stuff, or playing Ocarina of Time for the zillionth time to capture footage of that one specific thing, I'm basically working close to every day, including weekends. However, it doesn't feel like it to me because Zelda is my comfort zone. It's one of a few things in my life that managed to consistently stick with me. Most of my past interests like skateboarding or trying to become a rock star or a pro Counter-Strike player have all perished within just a few years because I simply lost my passion for it, in most cases for good. But my love for Zelda survived through all of it. It's been a driving force behind my own creativity for a very long time, and whenever I worked on something Zelda related, it never felt like actual work, if that makes any sense. Just to give you an example, here's a video I made back in 2005 when I was 18 years of age. I'm almost 36 now, by the way. This is essentially the first quote-unquote viral video I ever made, and it just so happens to be a Zelda video. It clocks in at about 300,000 views, which for the time was an absolutely insane number, and it even won the Daily Feature Award, as you can see. Sure, it looks pretty terrible for today's standards, but this was months and months of work at the time, especially given the hardware, software, and tools we had back then. Most of this stuff was drawn frame by frame, with a mouse, by the way, and it was my love for Zelda that made me crazy enough to do it. But it doesn't matter how old I get, I will always be super excited for a big new Zelda game. It really is something special, particularly because they're so few and far between. Tears of the Kingdom, despite not even being out yet, is, in a way, already my favorite Zelda experience ever. Now, I've been around for a while, so I'm no stranger to waiting for a new Zelda game to come out. I vividly remember waiting for the Wind Waker, which at the time felt so excruciatingly long. But as a content creator, it's definitely a different experience. I've essentially been holding a magnifying glass to this project from start to finish. For 3 solid years, 4 if you count my time as an editor for the Commonwealth Realm, I've been living and breathing Zelda day after day, trying to figure out what the game is all about and come up with interesting topics to dive into. While I have done plenty of videos about other Zelda titles and even non-Zelda content as well, Monster Maze is and always will be a channel that found its roots in the era of anticipation for Tears of the Kingdom. In fact, the video that put my channel on the map to begin with was about trying to figure out the chronology for the 2019 trailer. And well, I guess tomorrow we're gonna see how well that's gonna age. Given how long ago I made it and how much has changed about the game since, probably not very well. But hey, at least I had fun making it, and like I said, I owe much of my quote-unquote success to to this video. That said, I hope you're all gonna enjoy Tears of the Kingdom to the fullest. I cannot wait to hear all of your unique experiences and how you went about solving certain puzzles, or which areas you visited first and what you found there. It's gonna be legendary, and I'm confident that we'll be talking about this game for many more years to come. From what we can tell, it's at least twice as big as Breath of the Wild was, and that game still gave us stuff to discuss and things to discover even 6 years later. So yeah, I think it's gonna be fine. When it comes to my uploads in the coming weeks and months, safe to say it's gonna be a little longer before I start putting things out there. As I said, I'm gonna allow myself to experience the game as a gamer first, content creator second. So expect at least 2, maybe 3 weeks of silence before I go on to create regular content. I'm sure this won't be a big problem for many of you, since you'll likely be playing the game yourself and you owe it to yourself to experience it in your own unique way. Without story spoilers, without someone else telling you where to go first, my advice with these types of games will always be just go out there and have fun. And by the time we're all ready to talk about it, we will, at great length. As for streaming, I might stream on occasion, but it's gonna be sporadic at best. Simply because for the first playthrough, I prefer to experience games like these on my own as much as humanly possible. Besides, I kinda suck at video games anyway, so there will be way better choices out there if you want to enjoy watching someone else play the game. Once again, thank you so much for everything, really. Whether you're a Patreon, a channel member, or just a regular viewer, I owe each and every one of you a great deal. Which reminds me, I've been a bit behind on the new Patreon and member shoutout, so since I'm gonna be silent for the next few weeks, this is as good a time as any to catch up. As such, a very warm welcome to Mad Bacoblin, MMG, Sam van Rijswijk, Pabble, Stephanie Cater, Big Man James, Professor Clover, Lou JT, Miss Adik, Hylian Knight, Trav Does Weird Things, Sean Swiftshade, Gabby Medrano, Gwyn Oaks, Jacob Keeley, Slurpy Fusion, Diesel Drakiles, and Shannon Quinn. I hope I didn't butcher any of that. Anyway, thank you all so much for your generosity. It's been hard to keep up sometimes since some people change their screen name on occasion, or I'm just a blind idiot who's too focused on a project at the time, so if I happen to forget anyone, please let me know down in the comments and I'll try to make it up in the first video I put out after release day. Well, I guess that's all from me for a little while. Again, I hope you all have a great time, and I will see you on the other side. Bye bye.